Hey, family. Hey, loves. What's up? I just wanted to come to you on this thing that pastor. I don't have a pastor. I don't know. It's for pastors, though. It's for leaders. So, it's basically some insight, wisdom, some revelation that Spirit had given me. And it's just profound to me, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. He keeps just adding to it more and more. And so my stance is, this is my stance, and I'm not turning back. I'm not going to change. I'm going to keep going forward in what it is He has called and created me to do in this season. And a lot of it has to do with pulling people out of the church. Yeah, somebody has to be willing to do it. Somebody has to be willing to be the one. And so in that, He's showing me basically, He's taking me to the Bible, and He's saying, Pharaoh, let my people go. And He's literally allowing me to embody the essence of Moses in this season. And when I'm telling you, He's allowing me to see, like, firsthand what Moses missed, how Moses missed the promised land. And so I'm going to take you on that little journey as I channel Moses and the Most High in that understanding. And so it starts out with Pharaoh, of course, being sent away down the river. Remember, he was sent down the river in a basket. As we can clearly remember the show. I mean, we had to watch that every year. We sat at the foot of my mom's bed. I had exclusivity. I was in the bed, while the others sat at the foot of the bed on the floor. And we would watch, that Moses every year, whenever it came on. I don't know if it was Christmas or when, but we would watch those every year. It's like one of our family traditions or whatever. And so Moses, of course, was picked up by Pharaoh. I think it was Pharaoh's sister, if I'm not mistaken, and raised. Moses was raised. This thing is coming to me strong. Spirit, He doesn't be playing when he be trying to show you something and give you some wisdom, some insight, some revelation. He really allows you to channel this, to pull this energy and minister to people who are open and ready to move forward. So in this, He's basically showing me that, okay, Moses, one, he didn't grow up as a slave. Okay, get this when I'm telling you, because when you are in something, it's hard for you to come out of it. So what happens is Moses was sent away prior to becoming a slave. So he didn't have to be reconditioned. His mind didn't have to be reconditioned to the degree that the Israelites did. So when you are raised in enslavement, that's a mentality that had to be conditioned. And so He began to show me, because I said, why is it that it took them 40 years to come out of something that they literally could have done in 3 days? I think I seen it somewhere say they could have really done the journey on foot in 3 days, but it literally took them 40 years. So what God had to do, because if you think about this, they just was going around in a circle, in a cycle, karmic. That's what we call karmic cycles. Just continue to do the same things over and over again. While He's trying to see a slave mentality has to be undone. You have to go back and you have to undo all of that. Undo it, recondition it, unlearn it. And so what they were doing in the 40 years is He was trying to get them to be reconditioned or to unlearn a way of life, a mentality. And then He kept showing me, and I said, okay, so that's why it took Him 40 years. I get that. But then He kept showing me years ago, my friend and I, we would talk about this, and I said, girl, it's something that He's speaking to me about the feeding. And I couldn't get it then. This is back 2016, 2018. I said, there's something about it, Cecilia, that he's telling me something about what they were eating. He said, yes. He said they kept wanting me to feed their flesh. You have got to understand, there is a season that you no longer want to feed your flesh. You need to learn how to turn some stuff down. And so he said, I was trying to feed their spirits, and I was trying to grow up in them, but they wouldn't allow me to increase in them. They were too worried about the outer appearances, outward stuff, the feeding of the flesh. Be careful, people, when all you're doing is feeding your flesh. You don't want to keep feeding your flesh. Feed the God that's in you, because when the God that's in you raise up and come forth, it's going to be abundant. I'm telling you, you're going to realize that you're already abundant. All of that. And that everything else is just overflow. Yes, this is the life that we're living in, just the overflow. And so at this point, he says, the next thing he showed me, he says, he kept telling me, I kept hearing, not by power nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Not by power, not by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. And so my mentality has changed over the last 11 years that I haven't been working. I really believe in not by power nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. And so what he wanted me to grasp in that, he says, because when we went back to Moses, okay, why was Moses not allowed to go into, as from my understanding and how it was given to me, is the rock. It kept going back to Moses striking the rock, when literally all he had to do was speak to the rock. That's indicative of not by power nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. And so what Moses kept missing, what he did not grasp, the 40 years of taking them around, he too still didn't understand the power and the presence. That's two things that you have got to get in this thing. There's one more thing. There's the power and the presence that he didn't get. He didn't get it. For whatever reasons, he thought he needed to strike that rock when all he needed to do is say, water come forth. It's not by power, nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. This level of abundance, this level of overflow that we're going in, is not by power, nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. So you have to understand the power, and then you have to understand the presence. When you understand the power and the presence of the Most High, and that it really has grown up in you, the power and the presence has grown up in you. The third thing is you will know beyond the shadow of a doubt that all I need to do is stand before the rock and call forth water. Water come forth, and the water is going to flow. Okay? So this is where we're at in this season. It's almost as if what Moses could not understand and he didn't grasp is that I am a direct image of God. I am what we have to understand is that we are supposed to mirror the Christ in such a way, mirror him in such a way that when we look into the mirror, or when he looks into the mirror, he should see us and we should look like him. Now, what are you doing that you don't look like him? Be careful, ladies, when you go and change everything about your image, because your image is supposed to still look like him. Okay? Be careful that we don't change things that we don't really need to change. In this season, it's all about the power and the presence. And you have to know that you know that you know. And so what happens is that there is a time that you just have to know. Either you know or you don't. What they say, either you know or you don't know. If you know, you know. You know. That's it. If you know, you know. And so this is something that he keeps showing me. And then he keeps tagging on. I think that was the most part of Moses. Yes. And then we went over to, somehow we went into the woman, the free woman and the slave woman. And I'm saying, yes, okay, it all ties in at some point. So he began to remind me also about the slave woman and the free woman. And I'm like, okay. And that's over in Galatians somewhere. And it's basically saying the free woman, of course, she gave birth to, with Sarah and Abraham, she gave birth to Isaac, which was heir. He was the seed of promise. The slave woman, which was Hagar, she gave birth to that which was done in the flesh. Understand what I'm saying, people? In the power and his presence. And not by power nor by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. You don't need to make anything happen. All you got to do is align with that stuff. Get your vibration high enough to align with whatever it is you see for yourself. Bring yourself up to that. And all you have to do is sit back and watch it happen. There's not a lot of work in this season because this is kind of our spiritual inheritance. It's our due. It's our birthright. It's due to us. So you don't need to do a whole lot in this season. I always say, they say work smarter. That little thing that people be saying, work smarter, not harder. Yes, in this season, you have to know what you know. Know that you know that you know what it is you think you know. You need to know it. And so what happens is in your DNA, there can be no schisms or isms. You have got to really know. In order for Moses to stand in front of that rock and bring forth water, his essence, the essence of the Most High had to come up in him and say, I am author and creator. I'm the Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. I am all things. And I ask for you to bring forth work. But what happens is it's your essence has to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the water is about to come forth. It's coming forth. It's got to come forth because of who I am. And that alone will bring forth the water. Okay, so you can't have any doubt in your head. And so for you to get something and think, oh, I need to hit it with something to get the water, you don't have it. You don't really have it. And that's what he saw. Spirit saw that at the end of the day, Moses, you've been my mouthpiece for 40 years. And if nobody should have known my power and my presence, you should have. Because you've been talking to me face to face. And you still don't have it either. So what you're showing them is that they still need force. And what I'm trying to tell you is that when you go into this promised land, this is milk and honey, babe. There's nothing you need to do but be. All you need to do is be in this place. And so this is where we're going into a place. People, you don't need to make things happen. When you find yourself doing a whole lot, you stressed out because you're doing too much. So what did they say? What they say? Slow down, settle down. You're doing too much. I'm not a person that's going to do a whole lot for anything. I know who I am, and I know what belongs to me, and I know where my destiny is and what's coming to me. I sit back and wait for it to happen. I do what it is that I love to do, because when you're doing what you love to do, it's like you're not doing anything at all. Do the manual labor if that's what it is you love to do. But if you hate your job, then you're doing too much, man. You hate where you at right now. If it's too much friction, it's too much. You can't get along. We can't seem to communicate. I can't seem to understand what you're saying. You can't seem to understand what I'm saying. Too much friction, baby. Too much. Settle down. Get realigned to what it is you really want to be aligned with, and let everything else go. And when I say let it go, that means your mammy, your pappy, your children, if it's not aligned with you in this season, let it go. You can love on people from a distance, but do not try to take people into the promised land that cannot go. Remember, Moses couldn't go. All the other people had to die off. Joshua and Caleb were the ones that went in, and because they were of a different spirit. And one thing you should know is this: we don't know the slave mentality as much as our grandparents know it. And vice versa. It changes for each generation. So each generation is more liberated. But if you can't shift your mindset to be more liberated and understand when you're in a cage, if you can't understand and grasp when you are being enslaved to something, if you can't grasp that, then you're not going to be able to go in. You're not going to be able to understand the meaning behind the power and the presence. People, you don't know. And you won't be able to get it. You just won't be able to get it. And there's no talking, teaching, understanding, or any of that is going to help you to get it. So in this season, understand the power and the presence of the Most High. And this is for people who are truly divinely connected. If you are not connected, you need to get connected. And understand what I'm saying. The essence, everything, your sweat, your DNA, your energy vibrates at the level of I have power and authority because I know I'm divinely connected to his power and his presence. His power and his presence runs through me richly. And when I stand in front of the door has to open. You don't have to kick doors open in this season. You don't have to turn the key. The door is literally just going to open before you because your power and your presence and the knowing is going to connect you. And there is no faking it in this season. You must be connected. It's just authenticity, the truth. Moses couldn't fake like he knew it. He tried to, and it didn't work for him. Yeah, the water came forth. He hit the rock. The water came forth, but it still kept him out of the promised land. So people, even if it looks like it happened, it still won't happen. So Pharaoh, let my people go, and people get divinely connected, because when you're divinely connected, it can't be faked. His action, he was given a direct command of what to do, and his reaction to that command kept him out. You won't be able to fake it. You just got to know that you know that you know. And that's the key to the kingdom. Either you know or you don't know. And when you know, you know. All right, be blessed.